All right, when it comes to reading comprehension and tests, um, regardless of what grade level, whether it's a state mandated test, the PARC test, or SAT or any of those, there's always questions about author's purpose and author's point of view. And obviously the definition of the author's purpose is what they intended to do to their audience, what effect they intended to have. And then also then their point of view, which sometimes is about, what is their bias, what is their perspective about a certain topic. But author's purpose, going back a step, author's purpose can also refer to why did the author include a specific part or include a specific conversation or a specific thing within that article, including a graphic or even an anecdote or just one of the paragraphs that they chose to include. So one of the things that I want to say as a solution to being able to answer these types of questions on reading comprehension tests is that it is never a bad idea to make it a point to preview the questions before you read the passage. I would look at the test questions ahead of time before reading the passage and highlight for certain things, especially if it's said in line 10 or line 3 or whatever. But on the other hand, too, we also have to use a technique that I call step away, because if you try to look for the answer directly in the text, you're not going to find it. So one of the things I like to look at in each question is to determine whether it's a specific area that I need to look at or if it's a step away answer. The first question that we're going to kind of look at is author's view of desert flowers. Now there's an article that we read together in which the author took a certain point of view on desert flowers. But this is the type of question that, all 4 answers actually are words that were used within the article, but only one of the answers was actually the correct answer with regard to the article and how the author felt about the desert flowers. So in this case, if you previewed the question ahead of time, you would know that as you're reading the passage, by the end of it, you need to formulate what you think the author's opinion is of the topic, and in this case, the topic was desert flowers. So previewing the questions in this case would have helped you guide your reading. When I get done done reading this, what was the author's purpose and what was their point of view on the topic? Second thing is this is a step away answer, because even though these individual words took place in the article, you've got to step away from the whole article in order to reach which one was the best answer. And so that brings us to, and I'm not going to give the answer for this, that brings us to the next question then. This is another author's purpose, author's point of view question. We know this by the keywords illustrates the author's perspective on her subject, which is what the author is about. Now, once again, stereotypical. All 4 of these occurred in the text. But if you've read the overall text, you know that this is a step-away question. But if it happens to be that on a standardized test, it shows these quotation marks, like for letter A, cockroaches are loathed, and it said line 10, and it said line 20 or something there. It wouldn't hurt to highlight line 10, line 20, line 30, etc., whatever number happens to be in these areas before you actually read the passage, because you know that those are possible answers to your question. So that's why previewing your questions before you read an article is an essential skill to be successful on standardized reading comprehension tests, but also understanding too that the answer to this is based upon stepping away from the text and going overall, one of these things stands out better and fits the author's overall point of view than another. Here's another question then. The author includes technical terms such as carry-on and pheromones. This is author's purpose, author's point of view, and author's word choice. That's the type of question that it is. And the question that it's asking is, why would it include these 2 words in the article? Why did they give this? So once again, this goes to author's purpose, author's point of view. If you have previewed these questions ahead of time, a lot of times it'll say in paragraph 7. Well, I would highlight paragraph 7 ahead of time if that had been the case, or I would look where they had used the word. The other reason too is these are step away questions, is In this case, I wouldn't call this a step away question. You should actually look where those things are being used, and then which one of these is the best, okay? So that brings us to the third kind of author's purpose, author's point of view. What main idea emerges? Now that's a key word, but that's also the author's purpose. They want to give you some main ideas about some stuff. What main idea emerges through the author's narration of her conversation with Lou in the last part of the text? Once again, so why did the author include this? That's really what this is questioning. What's the author's purpose for having included that? Well, it helps to preview the questions, because if you preview the question, you'll know to highlight that section ahead of time, because you know that one of the answers is going to match with that. The other thing too is that the author's not going to explicitly give this answer. What you've got to do is you've got to actually read that section and then step away just from that section, step away from it and go, okay, well, why did the author include that little section there? What was their overall purpose in this? So those are the types of things that you will face in reading comprehension tests with regard to author's purpose and author's point of view. And that's why the benefit of previewing questions is very important, why stepping away questions too. It's not the answers directly in the text. Sometimes you got to have read the entire thing, step away and go, well, what was the overall message of this? What was the author's overall purpose? So it pays off to preview your questions, and it pays off to step away sometimes rather than looking for specific answers.